The New Brighton police have pulled out all the stops in trying to solve this case and find out where Carrie is, what has happened to Carrie. Right now there are very few leads.
The photo, or it is not a photo, it is a digital image. Those over 21, it'll be up in the upper right-hand corner. Those under 21, it'll switch to the lower left-hand corner, which makes it immediate identification for someone under 21.
Issues that, quite frankly, have not been addressed and resolved by the PUC before. We would hope that the PUC firmly and have said all along that we're the low-cost producer. We believe we compete and will increasingly compete in the world market. And so we sharpened our pencils, and the fact that we were able to put together an offer that meets their objectives, yet still produces a margin for our business, I think demonstrates that, in fact, we are a low-cost producer. PUC issues that, quite frankly, have not been addressed and resolved by the PUC before. We would hope that the PUC would act as quickly as possible so that
it will allow us to target and track the candidates as opposed to one another. How is the public perceiving them, and what, if the vote were held today, what might the eventual outcome be? Secondly, I think more importantly also is it'll allow us to identify the issues that are most important to the voting public, and then taking those issues to find out how the candidates would respond to them.
Superior has the only police and fire museum in the state of Wisconsin. And another reason is, as far as the firefighters are concerned, Local 74 is the oldest local in the state. So we figure it belongs up here in Superior.
I think they've been struck by the fact that all of your belongings, all your personal effects, your whole life can just be washed away in a matter of moments, and I think that's the most powerful thing that they come back with.
As far as factors, it's really hard to tell. Obviously, everybody's got different interests in the summer, and the opportunity was there, and we presented it, and next time we'll try to go after a market that may not have been interested in this particular event.
Otherwise, you can just give me a call because I work right downtown. Okay. 4416, but you can reach me at home for the most part today.
I'm very interested in the District 7A has representation in St. Paul, and that we preserve jobs and make jobs for District 7A. We've lost a lot of industry in that district, and it's not coming back.
Duluth's Union Gospel Mission is as busy as ever, but as is usually the case this time of year, donations are not keeping up with demands. Different this time around, however, is an increase of food prices the mission doesn't usually have to deal with.
Number 10 can case of corn cost us $11.50 a month ago. Now it's $33.50. And when you feed 8,000 people a month, those kinds of numbers really add up about a 20 to 25% increase in food costs. So we really have to raise additional funds in the summer.
To do that, the mission is using a familiar tactic. They're holding a golf tournament. This event, however, is not your ordinary one-day charity outing. The tournament runs for the entire month of July. To enter, you come to Anchor Park Golf Course in Duluth, fill out one of these cards, making a donation to the mission, then grab your clubs and go play 18 holes on your own time. By entering, you become eligible for prizes drawn weekly, and if you get lucky, you could win the grand prize, a brand new truck. To win the truck, you need a hole-in-one. To win any of the other prizes, you just have to enter. 20 days into the tournament, however, not many have signed up, and the mission is asking for help. Golfer or not, they're in need of support.
People forget, when the ice and snow goes, we still function. And we have a lot of people that are in need, and we need the income.
In Duluth, Ted Rollins, News 6.
I don't think it's fair. I mean, they can't just assume that you're out to be drinking and making trouble just because you're out. It's not fair.
Especially this one because, I mean, if they're going to send you a detox just because you're out a little bit past 11, you know, it could be like 3 blocks from your house and they're going to send you all the way downtown and then bring you back with your parents. You know, you could just say, go home, escort you there.
Just make you go home or not take you to detox because that's kind of embarrassing if people think, then people will just assume that you're into that kind of stuff.
We had horses and bobsleds at the farm. We were given sleigh rides for quite a few years, and then we decided we'd buy a carriage and come down to Canal Park and see if it would work. This is our 10th year. I hauled the governors from both states and lots of people that are nice, interesting people, I guess. It's you know, out-of-town tourist people that come in and do it, yeah. The locals ride a lot, but they usually wait until they have out-of-town company, and then they go with, you know. It's real relaxing. It slows down so much that people fall asleep, and they come down and do it again and again because it's a great stress reliever, you know. I've had people just come and do it over and over and over just for the relaxation. It's a real nice tour along this water, down along this lake. We offer them a variety of tours, and they get to pick which one they want. I just like the horses and to work with them, and I've been at it, and you know, you get everything all lined up, and you get horses and carriages and kind of a schedule, and it's hard to get out of it then, you know. It's hard to get into it, and then once you get all lined up, it's hard to get back out of it again, I guess. Here, when we got a wind like this, and the humidity's down, and it's a sunny day, and you're driving along here outside along the lake, how could it get any better, you know?
Those terrible stairs. Welcome aboard.
Where do you want to go? You stay here? Trains can't go on the road or the grass. They have to stay on the tracks.
Why?
That's just how they work.
They're
waving. Those people are waving to.
Entertainment and Convention Center, also known as the Deck, one of the largest decorative buildings should be renovated.
Wave to the lady.
It opened in 1984 as a shopping, dining, hotel. People are waving to us.
Well, I think they see you looking out the window and they're waving to say hi. Look, if there's a fort down there.
Freshwater by surface area in the world. The largest amount body of fresh water by volume. I wouldn't want to go in there yet. It's deep.
Is that water deep?
Yeah.
That big ship out there.
Yep, I told it. If there's a big ship out there, it's deep.
It's deep. good, yeah.
Let's walk on the other side. Come here, Mom.
There's a big ship. See the big ship? And the bridge that goes up and down? It's a fun train ride, isn't it?
It's fun. I'm going on it again.
You want to go on it again?
Noes by Bennett, Glass, Ferguson. Motion carries. I'll entertain a motion to state.
But when this becomes legal now, and when they have all these...
If I had to look at it from a business standpoint, I don't think it was a very good decision. But from a political standpoint, it probably was a great decision.
I'll take us back to the discussion regarding the superintendent's. Third would be the time that we would, as a board, if we do choose to have an interim superintendent, the time frame for that superintendent to be an individual, being that the evaluations are good and the individual is doing a solid job.
Were identified going to sites of specific scenic or other
that they might be able to utilize is from the...
I will bolster what Dan said, that probably the most desirable link that's missing right now is out to Brighton Beach, how to get the extension going. And so I think that if we're going to look at building this trail in segments, that makes the most sense, is how do we make that link.
Well, just think about Toulouse. And we're getting more and more violent crimes here, and it makes me wonder if we are importing violent criminals through the work release program.
So I believe we had a period of about two and a half years. We had like 14 people killed in head-on accidents between Trigo and Hawthorne up here.
We'd rather go nude!
This is dive number 4 of Expedition 94. The research submersible Delta was on her last dive of the day to the bottom of Lake Superior. Jack Purvis and his 12-year-old son Scott were on the adventure of a lifetime to visit the wreckage of the Edmund Fitzgerald. The team was moving towards the bow of the wreckage when they called to the surface with the news. They had found one of the 29 missing men.
That is unbelievable.
It's unbelievable because we had already sent 3 crews into that area, and because the pilot house and bow had been extensively photographed by 4 other expeditions.
Of course, this put a completely different twist to our investigation of the Fitzgerald, and the project itself took on a different flavor.
That different flavor left a bad taste with many of the team members, especially since we had met the family of one of the crew members just the day before at a memorial service for Fitzgerald's crew. It was decided that we would contact authorities and continue diving.
We first of all honored the area that the body was found by marking it, making a location check, and then not returning to that area to leave it undisturbed.
The discovery didn't seem to bother Scott, who thought it was a peaceful setting for a gravesite.
So quiet and dark down there. It reminds me of a church, is knowing that God's down there.
The body was videotaped and was shown to Canadian authorities, but it's not likely to solve all of the questions behind the sinking of the 729-foot freighter.
I don't think it helps clean up any of the mysteries or that. It probably brings back more sorrow than I think anything else.
The wreck is in Canadian waters, so the decision to recover the body is now up to Ontario Police. There are 28 crewmen still missing. Aboard the research submersible Delta, this is Rick Mixter for NBC News.
Ready?
We're here today to dedicate the Secret Garden and thank everyone that's been involved in putting this together and being able to preserve some of the history of old buildings and to be able to create the beauty and the arts that we want and need in this community.
A woman who was acquainted with the man was arrested and taken to St. Louis County Jail on charges of second-degree assault. I guess we'll figure that out. This morning, screaming for help. Possible stabbing. That's supposed to be a reporting party, and it's not real dependable. Sometimes they'll say Mr. and Mrs. Jones too, and then you know they both.
The good trends are that the adult percentage of people who smoke has gone down. 15 years ago, it was approximately a third. Now we're down to about a fourth of adults smoking. The trend that's concerning is the number of new smokers, and that's youth, hasn't changed significantly, and in some age groups has actually increased.
So if the legislature makes the right decisions, it will be a balance of intervention and incarceration. And it will recognize that we have to invest in order to prevent. And that we will need to recognize that dollars spent in helping children graduate or dollars spent in our educational system helping them feel better about themselves will mean that it's dollars saved in
And yet, if you look at these books, he says, no, what we ought to do is we ought to increase. I have here is 2 books that I've reviewed. Distribute the wealth. That crime in this country is caused by an overclass exploit.
I expect that we will do well and indeed win this district, and we ought to win this district. I'm from here. We've just received some endorsements today, which I think are significant. We'll be receiving some more endorsements as time goes on here. We're going to be spending some time doing some ads.
Tonight's AIDS Vigil is an opportunity for people in the community to come together and to share some of the stories, some of the pain, some of the joy, basically hopefully to have a sort of a healing experience around AIDS.
They captured our own world. A brother needs a sister to watch what he can.
The school board is discussing packaging it in a way that people would have possible choices as to what they'd like to vote for or against.
Attaway, Frank, I knew I'd get your hand up. Tell me what's different.
It's August 16th. School is not in until after Labor Day, but these children were eagerly awaiting electrical safety class. Yeah, that's right. I said electrical safety class.
Okay, how about climbing trees next to a power line? Is that a good idea? Why not?
It's all part of a safety seminar that will last 2 full days and provide useful information for the children.
A safety camp is designed to prevent accidents, and basically our whole theme is safety, and hopefully the kids bring it home to their parents as well.
The Hibbing Safety Camp is similar to safety camps in the Twin Cities. Officials down there report a noticeable drop in outdoor accidents, and they feel it's due to the safety camp concept. Hibbing officials hope to successfully copy the idea, even though outdoor accidents around the Hibbing area are already below normal.
Being a police officer, I've seen, compared to another community where I used to work, is that we don't have the increased accidents, especially when it comes to traffic-related accidents on a bicycle, that type of thing.
Our whole goal is, as we keep doing these annually, and we will, is that we can do the same thing, reduce childhood accidents, reduce childhood fatalities.
First, I want to talk about my portion of the morning weather seminar was on weather safety, although at the time I was not feeling particularly safe.
So much for a clean white shirt.
I'm much bigger than you are. 60 kids were expected at the inaugural year of the Hibbing Safety Camp. Roughly 50 showed up. Next year, well, officials expect a bigger and better camp. In Hibbing, John Jetta, News 6.
Just some pounds plus. They're getting it from...
Must be nice to retire at such a young age. Yeah, but I don't, you know, if I had your money, how you doing, lady? If you had all these kids, you wouldn't be able to.
Oh, I don't know. It ain't gonna change. I'm gonna do some traveling. I'm looking for a place. I was going out west, but property was too high price. I couldn't. Well, I could, but I just don't want to do it. So I'm kind of looking for a place in Lake, whether it's here or farther north.
Put on the one-stop shopping.
Yeah.
You're gonna put out that kind of money for them.
But it's surprising how many people did. Well, matter of fact, he worked here for many years before I did.
Yeah, it's kind of sad to say that a person would get into a relationship.
The sexual predator law in Wisconsin only came into effect at the beginning of July.
Prison. But when you take the vast majority of those going to prison, their life outside of prison is such a punishment that just adding additional punishment isn't a solution. People whose lives outside.
Next on the line.
Nothing keeps the boys out of the mud. Even though their cars are up practically to the roofs in mud.
Time to beat still is 11.0.
It's ultimately going to be up to the court to make a decision whether this law is valid. The Attorney General's office, the Governor's office, a number of the lawyers that have evaluated new law think that this is the best opportunity we can have to keep dangerous sexual predators off the street and out of our communities.
work most holidays. It's nothing strange to us. We work 4th of July, Memorial Day, Christmas, Halloween. Every holiday they have, we're out here working.
I think the message we're trying to tell kids is that school can be a lot of fun if you get involved in different activities, and at our school there's a lot of togetherness, and our kids have been really getting involved in a lot of different activities as a group, and I think that's real important to start the school that way.
It's more of a higher end market. It's not a subsidized housing project in any way, shape, or form. The building will include most of what we would say would be nice amenities. I think at this point we're probably going to add an elevator to the structure.
This will go on all night long until 6 p.m. on Saturday. We'll have closing ceremonies and a prayer, and the public is welcome to come down anytime.
The Minneapolis Star-Tribune WCCO TV poll shows DFL U.S. Senate candidate Ann Winia taking the lead over Tom Foley. However, 1 in every 4 voters polled were undecided, so the DFL U.S. Senate race may be in the hands of those undecideds that choose to go to the polls on Tuesday. On the Republican side, first-term Congressman Rod Grams continues to dominate. He holds a 32-point lead over Lieutenant Governor Jonell Deerstead. In a battle between the moderate and the conservative factions of the Minnesota IR Party, Governor Arne Carlson has a strong lead over endorsed candidate Alan Quist. The Star-Tribune WCCO poll has Carlson support at 63%, while Quist is at 25%. In a 3-way DFL gubernatorial primary, only 10 percentage points separate former Duluthian Mike Hatch from Tony Boza, a retired Minneapolis police chief, and State Senator John Marty, who's the party's endorsed candidate. With a significant percentage of undecided voters, candidates are busy trying to drum up support before Minnesotans go to the polls on Tuesday. Gina Katzmark, News 6.
It's a privilege that you have. It's one of the #1 privileges of living in this country. to be able to get out and vote. So please get out and vote.
The St. Louis County Health Committee has a tough decision to make: Epic Life or Blue Cross Blue Shield. Both companies would love to handle the administration of the county's health plan. Each had their top brass present this morning as the St. Louis County Health Committee debated which of them should be chosen. The original proposals submitted by the two companies have some significant differences. Epic offered a much lower administration fee per employee. In fact, they're over $500,000 a year cheaper than the incumbent. But if the county takes the Epic plan, they will lose some cost-saving programs that are currently in place with Blue Cross Blue Shield. The subcommittee decided last week to ask the full committee today for permission to negotiate with Blue Cross Blue Shield and dump Epic. Epic was furious, claiming they weren't being given a chance to compete on a level playing field. Today, the full committee decided that both companies should be allowed to negotiate, and that suited Epic just fine.
From our perspective, we think things are moving in the right direction.
And from the taxpayer's perspective, things are moving in the right direction as well.
I think what's going to happen here as a result of this is no matter who the county chooses, we're going to get some rock-bottom prices. And that's what this is all about.
Epic has until Tuesday to submit a lower bid. Blue Cross Blue Shield is expected to negotiate a lower bid by that time as well. In Duluth, Ted Rowlands, News 6.
The leaves and grass clippings are accepted down here at this site, and that will be free of charge for residents. We also take brush less than 4 inches in diameter here, where it will be chipped, and the compost and the chips will both be available to the public.
One was hit in the mouth, the other one was just wrestled down to the ground, or to the floor, so she's got bruises and contusions. Nothing serious, so they both checked out at the emergency room.
I'm sure the officers believed they were in danger. Somebody that's burglarizing a gun dealership, I guess you would just believe that they probably are armed and that you would consider them dangerous at the time you're trying to apprehend them.
That allow them to really basically relearn the things that how to fold your currency and keep track of your coinage.
We've secured a commercial contract in the last few months that has enabled us to increase our production hours. We're now working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, running 4 shifts.
This is something that has to be done. This type of thing has to be stopped. It cannot happen again. And we do everything in our power to see that it doesn't.
We'll begin with 1-minute opening statements. Mr. Cole?
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here tonight, and I thank the Wisconsin broadcasters for hosting this.
WXOW-TV Lacrosse evening will be from Ms. Tauser for Mr. Welch.
I think that if we have the government take over health care, you'll see it will cost more. In fact, the mainstream plan that Senator Cole was working on, first estimate was that it would cost somewhere in the neighborhood of $900 billion over the next few years to fund that program.
We'll begin with 1-minute opening statements. Mr. Cole?
What I would like to see us do is adopt a program like the one that I'm working on with a bipartisan coalition of senators from both sides of the aisle. It represents an opportunity to see to it that everybody has access to health care, that everybody has a portability, that when they lose their job, they don't lose their health care.
We thought that it would complement why people come north and why we have so many outdoorsmen and sportsmen who come up to the Duluth area for the weekends.
They're required by many colleges still for entrance requirements, and for some students they may make a difference between a college of their choice and some other college.
This is a big buffalo. All right, close up.
So he's 10. This guy should get about 1.5 feet taller and about 1,000 pounds heavier. First horse race, and kept spreading. Before long, we was running coast to coast.
Really did happen to you one time, tell us.
Oh, we was in California for a rodeo, but it does get exciting. Like I said, it's I'd definitely say the world's best performing buffalo. He can do it all. He works racetracks, rodeos, fairs, Wild West shows. He's even a mascot for a football team down in Phoenix for arena football. We got him pretty much in everywhere. Well, you name it, he's been there.
Keeping the best interests of the city in mind, I move that the Hibbing City Council terminate Mr. Quito's contract of employment with the city, including any involvement with the EDA, pursuant to the termination provisions of the contract, and that the termination be effective immediately.
Not going. I don't know what that's all about, but I feel very kind of ashamed.
Thing to do is have this project substantially complete, ready for answer or receive any questions from you, and answer any concerns that you may have.
Mr. Paving should be done at the end of next week. Is it intended to start this week?
Yes, it is. The contractor, Ulan Brothers, the subcontractor who's providing the bituminous, is moving their excuse.
Doing a jump.
Is it evident that this was not concluded, this problem, and is there anything you can do in that case?
I don't believe that the officers knew that it was ever going to escalate to this level at this quickly, but certainly the hints were there. The threats had been made, but a lot of threats are made. This time it paid out. The person was serious about it.
And so a lot of the artifacts in the storefronts are actually toy, and it's called them in a...
The students come back changed because they have a perspective of the world, and with the global society that we have today, I think it's important that they have this opportunity.
The comforting flames of a wood-burning stove can quickly become tragic. Fire officials say this time of year is dangerous because people often begin heating their homes without maintaining their wood stoves and chimneys.
Yeah, beginning of the heating season is often a time we have a lot of fires. The furnace has been off all year, or they haven't burned any wood, and all of a sudden they start a fire in their fireplace and find out there's a bird's nest in there, or it should have been cleaned, you know, through the summer season.
If you haven't already, now is the time to get your chimney cleaned and inspected. Professionals can locate any trouble spots before a fire gets out of control.
And they would go in and check, say, for example, if it's a brick chimney, they'd check to make sure the bricks aren't coming loose and the liner isn't cracked, those kinds of things. And they'd also check to make sure that there isn't any creosote in the chimney.
Officials say chimney fires often occur when creosote builds up. Burning dry wood and periodic cleaning can prevent creosote from creating a problem. Other safety tips to keep in mind if you're burning wood this winter include
In addition, the City of Superior is encouraging the trick-or-treaters, if they want to go trick-or-treating door to door, to do so on the Sunday prior to Halloween. That's on the 30th of October, and do so during the hours of 2 and 5:30. They should still let their parents check their treats, and parents should accompany the kids door to door.
Food, World Hunger Awareness Week. It talks more, you know, it has the
food shelf or at the soup kitchen.
And the message here that we want to leave with people today is there are things that can be done, and individual people need to take responsibility for that. We all collectively need to work together. It's not something that just government or, you know, it's a collective problem, and we all need to act collectively to solve it.
Other areas that have their names.
Right.
Like
Jean Runquist is among 100 parents that are asking the Superior School Board to take another look at its proposal for boundary changes. She says Pattison Elementary students that live south of North 28th Street should not be transferred to Bryant Elementary like the current proposal recommends.
there are no sidewalks. It's about 3 to 5 miles from here, as opposed to a mile and 3 blocks. and there's natural boundaries between Bryant's school and our area, the airport, the fairgrounds, and there is just no feasible way for them to walk.
The proposed boundary changes are part of a larger plan to phase in 2 new elementary schools in Superior. The principal of Pattison Elementary says with 510 children, his school is one of the most overcrowded, and some of the students will inevitably have to attend different schools next year.
Pattison, by virtue of the fact that it sits virtually in the center of the city, is the most vulnerable for any of the changes because the neighborhoods that you're able to identify, or the groups of children that you're able to identify, are adjacent to the schools that are being built.
In a letter to the school board, Pattison parents said they understand some kids will need to be moved. However, they do not want students living between 28th and 34th Streets to be bused to Bryant. Those parents say tonight they'll ask the school board to change the boundaries so Pattison students will either remain at Pattison or go to the new East End School on North 28th. School board member Jody Vreeland-Slick says the board will listen to the parents' concerns, and a variety of factors will be looked at before a final decision is made.
One of them was to look at what the capacity of our current schools and the proposed schools are, and to try to match that capacity with the students. Another one was try to establish socioeconomic balance, try to keep neighborhoods together, and try to look at things in a common sense approach.
The public hearing on boundary changes in the Superior School District will be held tonight at Bryant Elementary. A final vote on reorganization is expected in the middle of November. In Superior, Gina Katzmark, News 6.
The Twin Ports Youth and Tobacco Coalition has recently formed, and they're targeting specifically the use of youth, or the youth use of tobacco, to discourage them from beginning to use tobacco, and if they are using tobacco, to really hit them hard.
Teenage smokers heed the warning. If you're caught smoking in Superior, you'll need your wallet to bail you out. If you're caught in Duluth, prepare to spend time at a tobacco education class. Officials from the Tobacco Coalition are working tremendously hard to reduce the number of teen smokers through a broad education process and stricter laws.
I think that most Americans don't view smoking as a health problem. I think they see alcohol as a health problem and heart disease and cancer, and lung disease, but they don't see smoking as a health problem. They see it as more of a recreational or a leisure activity.
It doesn't help when tobacco companies continue to target teens through advertising. Consider these facts. 91% of 6-year-olds polled link Joe Camel with his product. This is the same percentage of 6-year-olds that can identify Mickey Mouse. The most recent statistics indicate that tobacco companies spend nearly $4 billion a year on advertising, not including another $300 million for popular gift items.
Joe Camel is extremely popular, and it's really important for a lot of teens to get Joe paraphernalia, and also the Marlboro Man paraphernalia is really big right now.
By purchasing cigarettes, teens can accumulate Marlboro miles or Camel Cash, which can be used toward the purchase of clothing and other trendy items that cigarette companies continue to promote heavily through adolescent magazines and other teen-oriented outlets. In Duluth, John Jetta, News 6.
Mainly
People would prefer not to have to go to the food shelf. People would prefer to be able to support themselves and support their families, but for a various number of reasons that they can't. There are many who use the food shelves on a short-term basis and then are able to get themselves on their feet.
On Friday evening, September 30th, a Duluth Central Hillside resident was on her way to the plaza to do some shopping. As she approached the intersection of 10th Avenue East and 4th Street, someone came from behind her and struck her several times in the head, knocking her to the ground. The robber then stole the wallet out of her purse and took off. A wallet was later found near the alley, but all the money was gone. The victim walked around in a daze for several hours before a friend of hers found her and brought her to the hospital. You may have witnessed the attack or seen the victim after she was hurt. You may also have heard somebody bragging about stealing $400. Don't be afraid to call us. It's the right thing to do. We don't tell anyone your name, and you could get up to $1,000 in cash. Crime Stoppers will pay for tips on stolen property, drugs, and wanted persons. Call with any information or questions you have at 1-800-974-TIPS or 723-ENOUGH.
Wednesday night was a busy one for the Duluth School Board. First, Mark Miles was named superintendent of the Duluth Public School System. Miles is currently principal of Lakewood Elementary School. He is scheduled to become superintendent December 1st if the contract details are hammered out by that date. Secondly, the board discussed the possibility of a girls' hockey program.
The issue is, are we going to have girls' hockey or aren't we? And I think, it's just a matter of when, not if we are.
The target date for the hockey program is the 1995-96 school year. In Duluth, Dave Anderson, News 6.
Instituted without the actual support of the district and of all the key people who will be involved with that new.
Rod Grams will be versus what kind of senator that we hope N180 will get to be. The Rolodexes and started calling our friends.
Why is it so important?
Rod Grams is a far right-wing extremist. He was nominated by the same right-wing convention that nominated Alan Quist. He does not have the support of moderate or mainstream Republicans. Rod Grams is anti-woman. Rod Grams is anti-choice. Rod Grams is anti-children. We don't have a title. We're simply a group of women who felt that more strongly that that needed to get out. We all be in the same place. E-W-E-R-E-N, Z as in zebra.
And person that kind of whether it be DFL or whatever, in the Senate governor's race or other potential state funding races is what I'm saying, not.
No, we are here to talk about the U.S. Senate race and the anti-woman, anti-children record of Rod Grams.
Costa was one of the people who started with me along with Gene Berggren. And $1,280. 230.
I can only reiterate what I already told you, and that is the city owns the building. There is a lease. The city is the lessor, and Mr. Oliverios is the lessee, and the city is receiving rent.
You know what we're closing for the briefing after
You just keep using this thing? Can you use that? No. No?
Evenings like this will soon be a distant memory, and people who tend to get depressed when the days get shorter are starting to worry.
It takes so much energy for me to get out of bed in the morning. In the summer, I bound out of bed, I'm ready to go.
If that sounds familiar, this may help. Light therapy.
You sit very close, about 12 to 15 inches away, and that you can read down here, or you can eat breakfast. Basically, you want to be not looking directly into it, looking down.
Sitting in front of this light box for about 30 minutes a day helps to reset your biological clock, tricking your brain into thinking it's more like spring than the dead of winter.
So if I use this box or some other light source, how long should it take me before I start feeling a lot better?
3 or 4 days, actually.
That's quick.
It's very quick. It's surprisingly quick.
But if you don't want to be tied to your box, here's another option. A visor that shines the light down into your eyes. It doesn't work quite as well as the light box, but it's portable, so you can walk around while you're wearing it.
So how do I know if I'm really depressed or if I'm just feeling blah because it's cold and dark outside?
If your boss is telling you that your work performance is falling, if you can't get your grades up in school, if you're really having difficulty with personal relationships, becoming much more antagonistic, irritable, then you probably have seasonal depression.
A problem Diane Resendez doesn't have anymore, thanks to her light visor.
By the third day, I was feeling like it was not only a little bit of a difference, it felt like midsummer.
For NBC News, I'm Lauren Scott.
They can't drive, they can't stay up late, but starting this year, they can vote. Thanks to a program called Kids Voting USA, youngsters from around the Northland will be putting in their 2 cents along with everyone else on Election Day.
In the Minnesota House of Representatives, at the top, there are 3 pairs.
Students have been preparing for the past few weeks, studying the candidates and learning the issues.
They're really excited, especially, finding out where their precinct is going, how they're going to vote, who the candidates are, and they've been really excited about this particular program.
Kids Voting USA started in Arizona 6 years ago, and it's catching on across the nation. With Duluth now involved, the number of states participating is up to 21. The goal of the program is to get kids familiarized with not only the voting process, but with the candidates and the issues as well. Then, on Election Day, they travel to one of the 47 area polling places and cast their vote, right along with the adults. In fact, the adults are joining in on the voting excitement.
They learn about it in school. They're learning about the election process. They come home, they debate with their parents about the issues, thus creates that energy.
Energy that has seen voter turnout for adults rise from 3 to 11% in areas with kids voting in place. Officials are anticipating up to 10,000 area students will cast a vote in the Northland tomorrow. Students like Morgan Park 6th grader Randall Gustafson.
Who do you think, Randall, who should I vote for governor? Governor?
Welcome to the club, Randall. In Duluth, Ted Rowlands, News 6.
And we could over to her and she will give you a bell.
Yeah, but we've been busy since early this morning.
That sounds about right, considering the information presented to the voters, and it's a very pleasant day.
Yeah, right.
Hi. Like I told you, I'm waiting for Christmas.
Lady over at the other table there. I'll take care of you.
I'll get this in there. It'll go in there. Hi.
There it's in.
Thank you.
Second, regarding the resolution before us, and Vita. Commissioner Prettner.
I would like to amend that motion to include the provisions that were provided by Mr. Mackey this evening.
Is this just for Dita?
The conditions that...
Confiscated drugs may spend years in gray plastic bags and cardboard boxes, but when the court cases are done and the appeals process is over, the drugs must be destroyed.
Marijuana, cocaine, crack, LSD, they're all among the drugs commonly confiscated by the Duluth police. And they're all going up in smoke today, right here at the Duluth steam plant.
They could have been taken by virtue of routine traffic stop by a patrol officer making a traffic stop and discovering drugs in the vehicle. They could have been taken by virtue of controlled buys, where during an undercover operation, our Special Investigations Unit would be able to purchase these drugs.
Flames dance on the packets of contraband, burning at thousands of degrees, incinerating the drugs in just minutes. Most of the lot is still in carefully marked evidence bags, mainly marijuana, but there's cocaine and even crack taken from right here in Duluth.
There are drugs out there. There are drugs that are circulating out there. Our department, other departments, other agencies do work very hard at eliminating these drugs and doing what we can. And, you know, our hope, our goal is that they all go up in smoke.
Ironically, heat created at the plant is used to warm buildings in downtown Duluth. So if you felt a bit hot around the collar today, now you know why. In Duluth, Bill Lund, News 6.
Even the names aren't necessarily even important to us, other than just mentioning how, you know, firearms involved. That's what makes it worthwhile for us.
to introduce to you, upon returning to Duluth, went to work for Duluth Avionics. It's a day that we must pass on to future generations. We cannot let them forget this day. History is one of the most important aspects of our life. If our governmental officials will read their history books, it will keep us out of a lot of conflicts.
Maybe proceed with the fashion show, and anybody who wants to take a look at it, just check with the handcraft these decorative masks. Some real innovative gifts here. Ball cap and home brewing barbecue apron. Debbie's festive forest green sweater, as Kurt said, is a merino wool blend from United wool tapestries, like Mary's from Del Sur Limited. Its outer shell is a wool cotton blend, while the inside is fully lined in pure cotton. Okay, left it on the table over there. Jennifer isn't ready. Should we go to Debbie? We'll go to Debbie. Debbie's ready in her festive Santa hat there. Bring those holiday...
Yeah, I think she could probably get 5 votes, and but then the question is, why would all the Republicans vote with her? She's going to have to give them something.
And Mr. Como said, you can't go anywhere, you have to make a phone call. And so I went in his office and he dialed this number and he said, this is a guy from Mintac. It was Bill Smith from Mintac. And I was like, okay, you know, I didn't really know what was going on. And then he said, well, you won the scholarship. And then he said, here's the phone, talk.
The city's supposed to come up with a plan, or they're going to not allow us to. We're going to be in violations. I don't know if they'll fine us, but they won't allow us to connect up any other places. Not to let all net labs. Every administration has known about this issue and hasn't done much. But it's time now that we begin to act and we begin to show our seriousness. We need to communicate. The reason I'm offering this resolution is we need to communicate to the MPCA that we're serious. We need to communicate to the citizens of Duluth. We were asking them earlier this year to spend $1,300.
This was a project where people worked together, regardless of age, disability, or ability, for the same common goal. And if the kids can take that goal with them throughout their lifetime and remember that, I hope they'll become successful.
The fire started around 4 this morning in the back corner of the building near Security Locksmith and quickly spread through all floors. Flames moved through the building, causing several spot fires inside some of the stores.
Because the roof is caved in and the materials involved, that there are still fires burning in different areas. They're difficult to get at because the roof is collapsed into the second floor and there's a lot of water standing yet on the second floor.
As fire crews battled flames inside, onlookers watched from the sidewalk as thick clouds of black smoke poured out of windows. Vi Lomprey heard about the fire and came to see for herself.
Oh, what a mess. I don't know who started it or what happened. Yeah.
Pretty big loss, doesn't it?
Oh, it's terrible. Mess.
Okay. Well, thanks for talking with us. What was your name? As investigators sift through the rubble at the fire scene, piecing together moments leading up to the fire, many displaced merchants are looking optimistically to the future. Wendy Danielson says the kindness of her customers has been an inspiration.
So many people are saying, you know, I needed that for Christmas, but if it's not done, don't worry about it. My stuff is the last thing I have to worry about. You know, it's really the Christmas spirit. I mean, I just can't. I'm just totally blown away.
Jeweler John Markshausen, who's been in business for 20 years, says he's committed to downtown Duluth and intends to reopen here.
Continue to do so, and downtown has been real special to us, and my wife is involved in the downtown council, and we're firm believers in it, and plan on staying here.
But that commitment to downtown has a price tag. Many of the buildings are old and not in compliance with state and city fire codes.
And I'm trying to get the building owners to be thinking and be budgeting that this is something that will be coming. Look for sprinkling of their buildings.
9 businesses were gutted by the massive blaze, and several others were severely damaged. Not all the merchants have decided what they're going to do from here, but some say their customers have come to depend on them, and they owe it to them to reopen.
You know, just that they're so glad that we're planning to stay around, and that they've just loved coming in for years and years, and that they want to be able to come in the future. And
in downtown Duluth, Gina Katzmark, News 6.
The clearest form of expression. You can see right through it.
What most people curse, Peter Slavin carves. The world champion ice sculptor thrives on turning frozen water into works of art.
Then you got to make your heart and your hands and your chainsaw and your chisels become one. When I'm sculpting, I'm not only looking at the finished product. I got to look at what it's going to look like 5 hours from now if it's melting and the sun's affecting it. It's got to be an evolving sculpture.
Slavin says ice sculpting is an evolving art.
I was a member of the United States ice sculpting team now for about almost 4.5 years.
The round-the-clock 3-day competitions can be fierce.
The ice slips, the chainsaw goes down and whacks off this guy's 3 fingers.
Slavin says ice sculptors are largely misunderstood by the rest of the art community, who think this type of art belongs on a salad bar.
It's art that people can look at and get a feeling from. And whether it's clay or rock or ice, it doesn't matter, because you get an emotion from it. It's water. This is thick water, right here. And if you want, I could boil it down and poach you some eggs.
Who says art can't be functional?
The Tax Reform Act was the largest change ever
And a lot of that because only that entertainment that pertains to the...
Clamp down again, more taxes.
Well, what they basically did is they are eliminating a lot of the expenses for the businessman. Although they did raise the mileage on the personal tax return, they changed the standard deductions and exemptions up. But all in all, it's going to generate more tax for the businesses and the individuals.
Before I came here, so it's you know, almost 39 years that I'll be now away from a newsroom and the day-to-day happenings going on there.
Is that okay with you?
Well, it has to be. You know, nothing is forever.
In the third zone, and it's kind of a grayish colored. He's in the left lane, just coming up to the bridge now.
Chief Warrant Officer Fred Cleese patrols an area of Duluth and Esco. From his aerial vantage point, speeding motorists are easy pickings. You can't detect them with a fuzzbuster, and you can't see the State Patrol markings on his plane high above the roadway.
There's your driver's license back, sir. And I'll explain this to you. I wrote a ticket for speed. I wrote it at 77 miles an hour in a 65 zone.
Preliminary statistics show a 28% increase in the number of
Dogs come first. Musher just hangs on and feeds them. Doesn't do you any good to run them hard if you got to finish with them. So the more dogs you have to finish, obviously the better shape you're going to be on the race. So the musher isn't racing, the dog is racing, and that's what the musher has to remember all the time.
And it's great to get everybody out. And it's important for the Northland because people know us for the Bear Grease and Grandma's Marathon. So
winter is here, and with the crisp wind and push of rugged feet is the spirit of a man named John Bear Grease. Son of a Chippewa chief, he's famous for breaking some of the most treacherous of trails with sled dogs during his mail route, a tradition that now people from all over the world imitate.
My mother is the oldest living granddaughter. She lives out in Washington State, so she never makes it here, so I have to relate to her what goes on.
Many take part in the tradition and take pride in the uniqueness of what used to be the main source of transportation years ago. Now,
it's a winter sport, and you got to get out the house. You gotta be 20 below weather, can't keep you in.
But the race is only part of the excitement in Bear Grease. A lot of the energy comes from a love for dogs, and not just sled dogs, but canines of all kinds like retrievers or terriers, or even a Shar-Pei. All contestants in today's cute puppy contest held to get people ready for tomorrow's race.
Definitely get some motivation, and it really gets you going. And it's exciting, and you get to see all different breeds. I just love it.
Whether you go to tomorrow's races to watch the dogs or retrace the steps of the legendary John Bear Grease, mushers say the one thing that will become obvious tomorrow is the unique and ancient bond that exists between mushers and their sled dogs. In Duluth, Molly McMillan, News 6.
What we're trying to do is give the students a chance to appreciate and get information about other cultures or other ways of life. And we're just hoping to open up their minds and understand different cultures.
Doing. He's holding up as well as can be expected. Went back to the jail. He's anxious and, of course, waiting the jury's decision. Nervous, like anybody would be.
Well, we would like to bring focus on fiscal accountability, student progress accountability, and best practice accountability. And by that I mean we would like to know precisely where our students are now in academic achievement and hope to improve upon that. And also to direct the financial resources of the district towards the student learning process. So a year from now we hope that we have a process in order and structure in order.
When they're awake and paying attention is tough because class of 70, if you insist on having it that way.
Your UMD week. Because of the significance of this event, the importance of UMD to our community and making Duluth an educational center, and the importance of UMD and the impact it's had on the entire world, I am, instead of declaring a day or a week, I'm declaring an entire year. And became Duluth State Normal School in 1905. Duluth State teachers received their diplomas. UMD has evolved to offer 11 bachelors. We proudly present this to you.
Thank you very much. board. You want it? Or? Yeah.
Is Mr. Gumtow's story here?
Well, I think it's pretty straightforward defense of self-defense. There's not really much else in this case other than self-defense. My opinion, and I guess if the evidence comes back the way we think it is, it's probably one of the strongest self-defense cases that I've been involved in.
Left or back, and they picked him up with orders.
And he's in custody.
So they're claiming it's a lesser of second-degree murder. I think the 26th or the 27th, I can't remember. Second-degree murder and felony murder. Those are the two charges that the grand jury came back with. They did not.